Hey, deserving listeners, Big Ed and Liz on the Single Life 90-Day Fiancé. Let's watch.
I'm being completely honest. I'm definitely struggling because I hate to say it, there is that age difference, even though I want to feel like it's non-existent.
Okay, so I did show all the clips, but Ed is picking up on some distance with Liz. She doesn't seem to prioritize him the way that he wants or the way maybe that she used to. And then we hear from Liz that she's wondering if they're really compatible. She's talking about age, but I would suspect that she's just deep down wondering, is this the person for me, or was just a short-term thing that had its time and it was good for a couple months, but it's run its course. Who knows? Or is Liz actually experiencing some of that distancing behavior that she has, and this is actually engaging his pursuing behavior? We will sometimes hypothesize that the Liz's of the world are exhibiting avoidant attachment and that the Eds of the world are exhibiting preoccupied attachment. You've heard me talk about that before, but in a very concise summary. Preoccupied attachment individuals learned that they can't really trust other people to love them consistently. And so they are hypervigilant and preoccupied with attachment in other people. Throughout the day, they're very frequently thinking, is this person going to leave me? Do they love me? Are we close? Are we close enough? Am I good enough for this person? There's just these questions that are frequently coming up for the person. And the reason why that individual is like that is because they needed to be that way when they were a child or in their early life, because if they weren't like that, then they wouldn't get their attachment needs met in the ways that they did. They still never got their attachment needs met, but if they weren't hypervigilant, they would have had this much attachment needs, and with the hypervigilance, they got this much, but they really needed this much. The avoidant people in the world were typically consistently emotionally neglected. They might have been actually neglected, like abandoned, but sometimes it's just subtle emotional neglect, like a parent who is overwhelmed, or a parent who is depressed, or a parent who's working a lot, or a parent who just doesn't know how to really pay attention and attune to their children. And so for these people, and then of course really horrible neglect, like a parent who goes to prison because of drug use or something like that. And so the child will have this world where they're just generally being neglected. And so the child learns, I need to, even though I have all these tremendous needs for attachment, I just need to avoid it because it'll never happen. So it's better to just avoid the whole thing. I still have all these needs going on for me, but what's the point? I just need to depend on myself. I need to be independent. When there's any kind of sign that this is going to go wrong, just run. Because one, that's the way I was treated. Whenever anything went wrong with me, people just ran away emotionally. And what's the point? Because if I become vulnerable, it's just not going to go well. Vulnerability never went well for me in my entire life. So it's just better to shut down, move on with your life, and be independent. I'm fine on my own. And I wonder if that is going to show itself in this conversation.
And I just want to be happy.
So how was your day?
Work was slow and then it picked up.
The other issue is, I don't know, is that Liz might not actually know who she is and what she wants. I don't know. We haven't heard a lot about her and her personality. But it's possible that for Liz, given her upbringing, she doesn't really have a firm grasp on her needs, who she is, and what she wants. And this might make things further complicated when it comes to, should I be with Ed or should I not be with Ed? When we aren't given as a child an opportunity to really explore and figure out who we are, what we want, what our needs are, what our emotions are, then we have a hard time meeting our own needs, because when we have a need, an emotional need that comes up for us, there's usually an emotion associated with that. And if we don't have the ability to detect that emotion or evaluate it, we don't know how to meet our own needs. But we get a general sense of our needs. We're like, well, I'm pretty sure I need relationships. I'm pretty sure I need attachments. I'm pretty sure I need fun and creativity and security and safety. But it's hard to know what lifestyle or what individuals in your life are going to be able to meet those needs because you have a hard time gauging that in your own body. And I don't know about Liz, but if you do have that issue, that disconnection with yourself, lack of connection with yourself, you can develop a connection with yourself, by the way, in long-term therapy and earn security relationships. But for someone like Liz, if they don't have that connection, then often what you'll hear from them as a relationship starts to feel not so great to them, they have a hard time determining, wait, should I be with this person or should I not be with this person? Because I feel like I should be with this person, but I also feel like I shouldn't be with this. And it's hard to make that determination anyway. Even if you have a connection with yourself, it takes years to, I don't know about this situation, but it can take a long time to kind of figure that out. But if you don't have a connection with yourself, then it's extra hard. But let's see if we can detect for Liz on that spectrum.
Bill, we talked about you, because I wanted to work, and when we're together, it's awesome. It's pretty awesome, right? You're so quiet.
So again, using the show as a jumping off point, I don't know about these two. I'd have to ask them. But it is a hallmark of the pursuer-distancer, preoccupied-avoidant dynamic where the preoccupied pursuer will say, you're so quiet, and the avoidant distancer will be very quiet.
Are we going to have a fight?
No.
Okay. I hope not.
Gosh, I'm so
They do have Mobeck. I want our date to go well and have a really good time. But right now, it's awkward. I want her to make me feel like I'm her priority.
So I don't know, but using this show as a jumping off point, as I've been saying, I wonder, based on these little bits and pieces that I've been observing over this season, the issue of Mobeck wine. Again, I'm making a lot of speculations here, but I think, based on what little bit we've seen, is that Liz at some point said she really liked Mobeck wine. And Ed has been frequently saying, I have Mobeck wine, I have Mobeck wine, as a way of trying to make himself more attractive or worthy for her. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? You're trying to please your partner. But in this anxious situation, they're going to this restaurant, and as they're walking in, he says, and they have Mobeck wine. One, how does he know that? Like, did he call ahead? That would be my suspicion, is that he called ahead and said, do you have Mobeck wine? Because my girlfriend really likes Mobeck wine. That is, again, a small sign of preoccupied attachment because he's worried about it all day long. He wants the dinner to go perfectly, and he's trying to control as many aspects as he can. Again, I don't know, but just a thought that occurred to me.
I need to tell Liz how I feel. Okay, this is cool.
That's really cute.
Here's to you, looking at me, looking.
But then she's not drinking Mobeck wine right now, so maybe he's just talking about, maybe he loves Mobeck wine. I really have no idea.
So for me, I'm like, you're here for a reason. I have feelings for you, and they're very strong. But I have what I call separation anxiety. And so when I'm not around you, I
Freak out?
Okay, good. So he is actually talking about what I've been talking about, preoccupied attachment. One of the phrases we will actually use clinically is separation anxiety. And he is talking about that, which is great. There's a separation anxiety disorder that will label often to children, but the more general term of separation anxiety we can't apply to preoccupied attached individuals. And he's saying, I have the separation anxiety when I don't see you. I ... and then she says, you freak out. And that can cause the avoidant person to be turned off and cause them to be more avoidant, which can trigger the preoccupied person to be more scared. And the systemic vicious cycle feeds off itself, and then they break up.
I freak out. And I've told you this before. I've always felt that when it comes to Riley, you're priority one, no question. Work, priority two. Priority three, it's your friends. And then it's me.
Okay, so far so good. Depends on what Ed is saying here. If Ed is saying, look, this is just my observation. I feel like I'm fourth in your priority list. I wish I was higher up on the list. That's okay. Or is he saying, you're putting me fourth and you must make me number one priority? From what I can tell, they're just dating. So to put someone at, below, especially your work and your friends, and Riley, is that her daughter, her child? Really, it would be rational to put him fourth because she's explicitly even said to him, look, I don't know if I showed this clip, but she's explicitly said, I don't know if this is long-term. I like you and I want to be with you, but I have no idea if this is long-term or not. This is too early. So it would be okay if she made him a higher priority, but it would also be okay if she put him a lower priority because she's just dating someone. Let's imagine that every time you date someone, you always push your friends and your family and your own children below the person you've been dating for the past month. I don't know if that's exactly going to work out all the time.
I've just always felt like I'm like at the end. I feel left out and I don't want to miss you. I want to feel secure.
Wow, maybe this is evidence of his therapy, or he watches my videos. I don't know. It always mortifies me thinking about the cast members watching me talk about them. I wish that I could talk with them because that's typically what I'm doing with people. I usually don't, talk about my clients while they watch me, in a video. I usually work collaboratively with people. I want, people to tell me I'm wrong, and we go back and forth. But anyway. But he's using language of attachment. He's saying, I want to feel more secure. I don't want to be insecure. And so good for him. He is taking responsibility. What do we do with that? Do we use that as an excuse to control someone? Or do we just alert someone to say, by the way, I am terrified of losing you. And when I don't see you, I get real scared. It's not your fault. That's kind of my issue. But you could really help me out if you could help me out with that. Hey, deserving listeners, as y'all know, I am constantly recommending that people go to therapy. We all need therapy from time to time. Well, one of the options available that is definitely worth checking out is BetterHelp. If you're looking for a therapist, I would give it a try by going to betterhelp.com/Kirk. Make sure you use the promo code Kirk because you get 10% off your first month, and it really helps us out. As you watch these videos, I know many of you have been motivated to find your own therapist, which is great because you deserve it. And I know also that it can be hard to find a good fit, find the right one for you. Well, one of the options available in terms of your shopping is to go to betterhelp.com/Kirk. I've been told you can start communicating with your therapist in under 24 hours. You can message your counselor at any time. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. I've also been told that it's often less expensive than in-person therapy, and you should know that this service is available to clients worldwide. So go to betterhelp.com/Kirk to get 10% off your first month today.
I want a commitment from you that I'm what you want.
So let's rewind that. I think what Ed said, and I cut him off, is I want a commitment from you. That's, okay. Is that, hey, I would love a commitment from you, or hey, you need to give me a commitment? Let's rewind that and see exactly how we asked that question.
I've just always felt like I'm like at the end. I feel left out and I don't want to miss you. I want to feel secure. And I want a commitment from you that I'm what you want.
So that's a pretty awkward place to put Liz into. Now, maybe Liz will say something like, yeah, I'd be happy to give you that commitment because I want to commit in that way. Or if Liz is on the, more in an ambivalent place, which I think she is, what does she say? Well, she could say something like, well, I appreciate that you want that from me, but I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. And I'm really sorry about that. I like dating you, but I don't really want to put you higher on the priority list because I'm just dating you. And maybe things will grow in the future, but I can't know that yet. And I just want to take things slow. So let's see what she says here.
We need to find a way to fix it, to get back onto that page. I miss telling you about my days. I feel lost when I don't speak to you.
See, I need that. I need to hear that.
Interestingly, this conversation is pretty functional for conversations we've heard on 90 Day Fiancé. Now, it's in the midst of what we understand to be potentially a very problematic abusive relationship. But if we just use this unit of conversation, it's pretty good. He's taking responsibility. He's asking in a mostly nice way. I would have asked him to word it a little differently. Instead of, I need a commitment from you, it would be, you really could make my day if you could reassure me that you're committed to me, because that's what I'm worried about all day long. You don't have to commit to me, but boy, you could really help me out if you could say that you're committed to me. That's a different message than I need a commitment from you. But aside from that, little asterisks that he's taking responsibilities. I'm scared. And she actually is saying, I miss you too. And I want to be with you and I need you as well. I wonder what's holding her back though. Is it just life circumstance? I mean, she's pretty busy. Or is it something else? Is it that ambivalence? Does she have a hard time even admitting to him that she is ambivalent about the relationship?
I didn't know that.
You're definitely a priority. You're a lot to handle, but I do love you.
Bottom line for me is you're the one I want. I love you.
I love you.
This conversation feels awkward to me. I don't know if I'm just reading into something, but from Liz, I feel like Liz is hiding something. I totally could be a projection. I don't know. But it's just the way. Let's rewind it and see if you comment below. Let me know what you think about this. Let's rewind.
Bottom line for me is you're the one I want. I love you.
I love you.
So we can start over.
Just start over.
So who knows? But if she were ambivalent and trying to act like she was not ambivalent, why would she be doing that right now? Is it because she is afraid of losing him? Is it because she's afraid of his retaliation? Is it because their camera is there? Who knows? Maybe we'll find out.
I am 100% scared of commitment. I am. I've been through 2 marriages, but Ed has one of the biggest hearts that I have ever known. And I love him.
I wonder, again, total speculation. I'm just always having these hypotheses that if I were to work with someone like this, I would ask them questions to discover if it makes any sense to them. But I wonder if for Liz, she had people who were very much different than Ed. People, because what are the positive Ed qualities? Well, I think Liz has even said this, that Ed has a big heart. Well, what does that mean? Well, he's very loving. He has a lot of need. He's like, oh, I love you so much. You're so beautiful. I want to be with you all the time. Was Liz with people who were not like that? And she always wanted some of that. And Ed has a lot of that. I just wonder if there's something along those lines that is causing Liz to really want to be with him, but also I wonder if that's a factor in her attraction to him. I don't know.
Out of here.
Yeah.
Tonight I learned that she loves me and she's willing to start over. But, I still have things in my head I need answers to.
That is scary. He said the exact same thing with Rose and he's doing the exact same thing. He would try to get the relationship. He would be very nice or apologetic or very generous, very charming. And he would, when the relationship wasn't going well, he would establish what he thought to be a secure relationship. And then instantly, within seconds, with Rose and now with Liz, he would start to get into this mindset of, I need answers, or there's something wrong here, and I'm going to try to extract information. So he's on this cycle of when he feels like he's in the doghouse, he puts on 100% charm and puts aside all of his complaints. And then as soon as he establishes what he thinks is security, all those complaints come rushing in like a tsunami, and he starts to attack. And he just said this phrase, okay, good, she loves me, that's great, but I need some answers. He did. Remember when he did that with Rose? I need answers. About what? Remember that whole thing where there was like, what answer? Yeah, she had sex with people before. Ed, who cares? Like anyone that you're with likely has had sex with other people before you. She literally has a child. So is it okay that she has a past? And he was remember that the STI test and all the focus, like how many partners have you been with? And it's like, what is the business of yours? So let's see what answers he wants from Liz.
I want to know if she sees a future with me forever. Because I love her.
Okay, nothing wrong with wanting to know that, but how do you communicate that? Do you force that on someone, or do you actually try to self-soothe and say, she's not ready for that, and so I'm just going to have to live with that uncertainty of, I don't know. She's literally told me that she doesn't know if we're a long-term thing, so I'm just going to have to regulate my emotions and be okay with that ambiguity because she doesn't know the answer to that question. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.